Hey everyone, it is 2023. So you know what that means. We're getting ready to get into the first video of the year. Oh yeah. Here we are folks, RPG Elite, back in the hizzy, and we're starting it off with the last quality in our RPG Elite philosophy series. Before we get into that, I want to say Happy New Year to all my leets and all my peeps, and even if those of you who are new to the channel. This is RPG Elite, if you didn't know, because this is a place where I put the RP back into RPG, and the way that I do this is by giving you tools, tips, tutorials, and real talk about the tabletop RPG space and culture. Also, on top of that, I do these things because I want you to have a more enjoyable and immersive tabletop RPG experience. I want you to have a deeper and richer time at the table. Before we get into our video today, we're going to do a quick product highlight, then we're going to get straight into this last quality. And if you were to ask me, Servant, what's the 3 absolutely essential ones that you had to pick out of the 10 RPG Elite philosophies, which ones would you pick? If you only had to choose 3, this would be one of them. This definitely would be one of them. So on the other side of this product highlight, we're going to get straight into this last quality, and this is a 4-part series, so we're only doing part 1 today. You guys know how I do it. I like to be thorough. So let me get on up out of here, and then I will meet you on the other side of this product highlight, and we can get straight to it. Hey, if you're looking for ideas for your campaign, whether you're a game master looking for new creatures and or situations that you can add your own tweak to your campaign for, or maybe you're a player and you're looking for something interesting to add to your character background, or maybe some interesting knowledge that your character would know, I highly suggest the book by Jerome Clark called Unexplained: 347 Strange Sightings, Incredible Occurrences, and Puzzling Physical Phenomena. Now, I've talked about this book before. This is my version of it, and it's an older version right here. But if you're really looking to add that extra flavor to your campaign, and this really goes well with games like Vaesen or Delta Green or Dark Conspiracy, this is a dream. And it has short chapters, so you don't have to read very long chapters. Again, it's 347 of these things. And it has plenty of info. And again, you can tweak these things to your liking. So go ahead, grab your copy right now. My link is down in the description below. And of course, once you do and once you read through this, well, as always, you'll thank me later. No RPG Elite believes they have arrived. We don't believe that, I just got it all set. I just know everything. No, we don't come to the table like that. Because we are looking at tabletop RPGs differently. See, RPG Elites look at tabletop RPGs as an art form. And even those who are RPG Elite-ish, they might have an RPG Elite quality here and an RPG Elite quality there. We look at this as an art form. Now, if you remember in my video on quality number 8, it's about the story. I laid out that tabletop RPGs are a storytelling medium. So it's right up there with novels, televisions, film, comic books, and then you got the red-headed stepchild, the tabletop RPG. It's a collaborative storytelling effort, but it is a storytelling endeavor nonetheless. And if you go and look at most tabletop RPGs, and if you're reading the very beginnings of it, you will almost always see mentioned story in terms of explaining what a tabletop RPG is. So an RPG Elite will come to the table, literally come to the table, and we will look at what we're doing as a craft. And hey, we want to hone our craft. We want to become better at this. And we can, because tabletop RPGs are different in that regard. I mean, it's like not like other board games or games. I mean, let's say Yahtzee. Okay, y'all, you can't get any better at Yahtzee except rolling dice. That's it. That's all you got. A cup and some dice, and you roll them, and you write something down in a piece of paper on a box, on a piece of paper. That's it. You can't get no better than that. You can't get no better at Battleship. You can get better at maybe the psychology of the person that you're sitting across, knowing where they're going to get, but it's a guessing game. At the end of the day, it is. But with tabletop RPGs, it's different. I mean, how many times have you sat down with a tabletop RPG session, and there's good sessions, and there's bad sessions, and there's horrible sessions, and there's great sessions? Well, why is that? Have you ever taken the time to just kind of sit back and say, why was that session better than this session? And really just focus and hone in on those things and those qualities for those sessions where you want it to be a great session all of the time. Well, I guarantee you, it's one of these things that I'm going to talk about here in this series. Now, let me lay something out and really reiterate something that I've said in previous videos, but I've got to lay it out again. This is for RPG elites. So it doesn't mean that I'm coming to the table saying, hey, this should be for everybody. I'm not saying that. This is not something that's ubiquitous. Otherwise, this channel wouldn't be called RPG Elite. The term would be obsolete at that point. I'm saying that this is what RPG elites strive to get better at. So with that in mind, this video is going to be for 3 categories of people. So the first category is going to be those who are just curious about this RPG elite philosophy. Y'all don't know nothing about nothing. You just happen to click on the thumbnail and was like, what is dude talking about? I have no idea. Let me see what's up. Then this video is for you. The next one is for those of you who have actually adopted the RPG elite philosophy, and you are just looking to find out what's the next step, what's the next quality, what's that thing. So this is for you as well. And then the third person would be those who have some RPG elite qualities, but are not RPG elite themselves. And so you might be curious, or you may want to know whether or not this is something that you want to add to your RPG elite-ish qualities that you have, though you're not an RPG elite. So those are who I would say would be the kinds of people who would be interested in this video and learning more about this particular quality. So just again, this is not for everybody. This is from an RPG elite perspective. Whether you agree with it or not is really irrelevant, because it's going to be that perspective no matter what. We're only doing one part today. We're going to focus on one thing, and it's a doozy. Before we get into how we can strive to become better at this, we have to define the basic term role-playing. Now, why would we have to do that? Well, we're not all on the same page when it comes to that. Trust me. I remember when I did the video on role-playing in the former RPG Elite quality, and I've even gone to other people's channels talking about role-playing and what it is. And anytime that I use a dictionary, you've always got somebody saying something about, well, you know, the dictionaries today and the dictionary, they're really politically leaning this way or that way. Okay, I'll get it. But there's no politics in this word. And this word has meant the same thing since its inception. Nothing's changed here. We don't have any nuances and changes in culture and changes in the word. And so that is what we're going to do first, just so we're on the same page. Now, whether you agree or not is irrelevant, because this definition, or these definitions, because I have more than one, these definitions are the ones where we say yes and amen. And this is for those of us who are RPG elites. We say, yeah, that's role playing. So I have 3 this time, just to make sure we're all on the same page. We're all thinking about the same thing. Now I got a separate video talk about people who like to poo-poo role-playing. That's a separate video, and it's coming up this year. So stick around, you know, hit the subscribe button right now if you want to see that video when it comes out. But let's go ahead and let's look at these different definitions of role-playing. All right, this first one here is from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Talking about role-playing, this is what it says: to act out the role of. And then the number 2 definition is to represent an action. Pretty straightforward right there. But let's go to another definition, okay? And this is from the dictionary.com. This is what they say. Role play: to assume the attitudes, actions, and discourse of another, especially in a make-believe situation, in an effort to understand a differing point of view or social interaction. That's interesting. I think that's interesting. We're going to come back to that. To experiment with or experience a situation or viewpoint by playing a role in a make-believe scenario. All right. So that is probably the best out of the 3 definitions because it goes a little bit more into it, but basically the same thing. There's some acting going on. You're putting yourself into the role of someone. Okay. But I like it when they say that you're doing this from a different viewpoint. That means you have to get into the mind of the character. There's no way that you can get it from that person's viewpoint unless, of course, you begin to act like that person. You take on their mannerisms. Maybe you even do their voice. Maybe you do certain things that they would do in terms of how they speak. And it might not be a different voice, but it might be, you know, different words that they put emphasis on all the time, or even the cadence and how they speak. That's the only way that you're going to get into the mind of somebody else in order to be like them. You'd be like, okay, why do they do this? Or how, you know, what's the whole purpose behind this? How are you going to get in the mind of that person? You got to be that person. And some of the best people who have role played, they get Oscars. I mean, when Oscars meant something, they don't mean anything today, but everybody looks at it and says, that was some great acting. Or in other words, role playing. They played that role to a T. Let's look at the third one. And this one is from the Britannica dictionary. Role play: an activity in which people do and say things while pretending to be someone else. Ooh. Or while pretending to be in a particular situation. To do and say things. Actions and voice. Speech. But again, we've got a situation where you're putting yourself in a role and you're taking on their attitudes and you're doing it like that person would do it. So you have to have a clear picture of the person that you're trying to portray, even if it's just a quick NPC. Role-playing for the RPG Elite is acting, and it's taking on all these different attitudes and qualities of another individual. That is what we're going to define it as when we talk about role-playing here on RPG Elite for this particular quality. Now, if you don't like that definition, life is rough, pray hard, because that's the one we're going with, because that's the one that RPG Elites go with anyway. That's how it's defined, that's what it is, so that's how it be. Now, I've mentioned before about the different levels of role-playing in previous videos in the RPG Elite Philosophy series. And I've only mentioned 2 because there's actually 3. And I wanted to save the third one for now because it's appropriate. And that will be in the second part of this series. The only ones that I've mentioned so far are the low level and the high level role play. So I'm only going to mention low level role play in passing in connection to what we're talking about in this video only, because we're going to expand on the high level role playing here in a second. But for an RPG Elite, low-level role-playing is only to inform them of their high-level role-playing. That's what we use it for primarily. We don't put a focus on low-level role-playing. We put a focus on the high-level role-playing, and the low-level role-playing will inform us on how we should approach our high-level role-play. That's it. If you haven't looked at those videos, then you can go over there and look at those videos to get an idea of what I mean by low-level role-play versus high-level role-play. Now I'm going to expand, like I said, on high-level role-playing right now. So when I say that RPG elites strive to become better, this is the area of role-play I'm talking about, high-level role-play. We strive to become better here primarily, because here is the focus for the RPG elite. Here is the fun for the RPG elite. So what are some of the things that we focus on? Well, we focus on those very same things that the definition of role play says. We focus on attitude. We focus on getting into the mind of the character from their viewpoint. And many times we go above and beyond. So we do things like accents, or we'll do things like voice inflection, or we will change the timbre and tone of our voices. And this is very important, especially when it comes to virtual tabletops, because if you're not using video, voice is all you have in terms of the character. You have a token, maybe a picture, and then the voice, and that's it. Because I don't use video in my online sessions, which you guys have seen in the Gamma World content that we have, because I want people to be focused on the map, the tokens, the sounds, the other things that are going on. So I don't want us to be looking at one another and all the rest of that. Just be focused on and be in the actual world. Many times it's a map or a picture or something like that. All we have is our voice. That's all we got. By focusing on voice, what it will do is it will give a picture in all the rest of the players' minds in terms of that character, and changing it up, doing things a little different. That is something that enriches the experience. Now, I've got a separate video that's going to talk about people who like to poo-poo acting, which is what role-playing is, and like to say that it's not. It is. Most of the time, the reason why they say that, well, I'll say that in the video. But high-level role-playing is what an RPG elite is going to focus on. We're going to focus on all of those things. Now, in a face-to-face setting, then we can focus on other things as well. We can focus on mannerisms. We can focus on, let's say a character smokes and they're a chain smoker. So we bring in a prop, that's a cigarette. And we're always doing this at the table as we're actually playing out that character. Okay, well that then just adds an element to it. Don't be smoking at my table, y'all. There's no smoking zone. But you get what I'm talking about, right? Or maybe there's a certain thing that they do all the time. Maybe they're rubbing their hands together all the time, right? And so you rub your hands like this and they're hunched over in their shoulders like this because that's how they are. That's some kind of tick or something like that. Or maybe they do actually have a tick, you know, and they're doing this. That right there adds so much depth to the session, because I know then that that character is that character, that player is that character. I know that. I know that when a person does all of that, that player has just entered that character's mind and we're into some deep role playing. And that is what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to this deep role playing in reference to this collaborative storytelling effort. And that's how we enrich not only the experience for ourselves, but for the others who are at the table. Again, this is for an RPG elite, because that is exactly what we're looking for, because that is what we define as part of a great tabletop session. Now, when it comes to getting better at these things, then that means that you're going to have to practice. And that means taking on, you know, accents, different voices, inflection, tone and timbre, all of these things, especially with your voice, these are the things that deepen the experience. At that point, everybody is not looking at you as you, because you got into the game to get out of that reality to go into another one, right? You got into the head of this character, and this is what this character would say, and this is how this character would say it. So if there's an accent, maybe you're going to have to practice an accent. Maybe you have to sit there and look at a movie and just practice this accent because they have the same accent. Or maybe they have this thing that they do with their voice that you're seeing in a television program. You're like, let me get this down so I can do this. Yeah, I remember I said that, role playing involves acting, and it does. And there are some people who like to say, no, it doesn't. Yes, it does. It's in the definition. Now, if you're not good at it, that's something totally different. Right? You're not good at role playing. All right, then you're just not good at it. This is, again, something you can strive to be better at. That's what's cool about it. It's not something that you come out of the womb knowing how to do at a high level. It's just like actors, right? Actors don't just come onto the set and give an Oscar-winning performance first time out. Okay? Has it happened? I don't know, probably, yeah. But I'm telling you, by and large, that doesn't happen. They have to get better at their craft. So this is acting in the role of someone. So there's acting involved. Now there's some people who are not real good at some of the things in terms of speech. And I get it. I'm not real good at some things. Doesn't mean that I can't get any better. Again, RPG Elite here. I can get better at this. I want to get better at this. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on getting better at the things that I'm not good at. So there you have it, folks. The first one of this 4-part series focusing on high-level role-playing and getting better at that, practicing at it when we're not sitting at the table, sitting in front of a mirror and maybe practicing an accent or an expression or something. This is what an RPG Elite will do. Because again, we're looking at this different than just a game. We're going above and beyond, and we want a deeper experience. We just don't like facile experiences. We want depth to what happens at the table. And we want that to happen as much as we possibly can. And so we do our part to try to be better at role-playing, high-level role-playing, that is. Now, here is the question of the vid that I've been waiting to get to. What is preventing you from focusing on a high-level role-playing? What is the thing that gets in the way of you just doing some mediocre high-level role-playing? What's going on? Let me hear you. I want to hear this one. For an RPG Elite, this is important because we believe that it is required. And I'm not saying that you're great at it, but listen, let me try to cut you off before you even answer, at least in one way. Okay, saying that you're no good at it, I get it, but you're not going to get any better at it by not doing it. Okay? The only way you get better at something is by doing it repetitively. And so you can practice that outside of the game. I'm just saying that's a little bit extra there, but go ahead and answer the question down below. I want to hear from you. So if you like this video, folks, then go ahead and give me a little bit YouTube algorithm love. Hit that like button. Also, if you are down with what's going on here, you've been coming back, or this is the first time and you're going, I'll give him a shot. Why not? Then hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because that's how we do it here. And we will continue this next month, first Tuesday of the month, on our RPG Elite Philosophy series. So, God willing, until next time, which will be Friday. Oh, a brother is about to.
So exit, stage left.
If you got a game going on this week, then I hope it is a fantastic RPG Elite session. So happy gaming, y'all. So till next time, I'm gonna catch you on the flip. Oh yeah. Peace, y'all. 5,000 leets. Hey, brother Zowdy.